Alright, so we are talking about persuasive paragraph parts, and there's a reason that there's a yummy hamburger there, so stay tuned. Alright, the first part of a persuasive paragraph, and this is paragraph, not essay, is called the topic sentence. This is the name of the first sentence of a paragraph, and it states your opinion on whatever the topic is. It's very important that in your topic sentence, when you're writing a persuasive paragraph, that you do not ride the fence. Make sure that you pick a side definitively so that readers totally understand your point of view. Often, the topic sentence contains the word should because the topic sentence in a persuasive paragraph functions as the thesis statement for the paragraph. Do not use first or second person pronouns anywhere in the paper, especially in the topic sentence. So that means avoid I believe, I think, I feel statements. Avoid using the word you. Avoid me or my, any form of the word you. So an example of a topic sentence would be, high school students should be allowed to wear hats during class. Now that would typically be the thesis statement for an entire persuasive essay, but in a persuasive paragraph, that's your topic sentence, which functions as your thesis, and the rest of the paragraph works to back up that argument. Okay, after the topic sentence, you have what is called a concession statement. So in one or two sentences, acknowledge and summarize the opposing point of view, which is also known as the counter argument. This ensures that readers know you're aware that there's a controversy and that you have no reason to back down against other viewpoints. So here is an example of a concession statement. Some people argue that hats are distracting because of lewd, which means inappropriate, lewd prints and graphics, and because they are often worn sideways or backwards. While these points are valid, parameters can be set to ensure hats do not detract from the learning experience. So you start out by saying your point of view, you follow it up with a concession statement to cover your bases, and then you start in on your arguments. Okay, so following the concession statement, you go right into point number 1. Make your first argument that supports your point of view, expressed in the topic sentence. This point can come from your head, from your experiences, or from research. So an example of a point to support our topic sentence for this example is hats are not as distracting as some other clothing items which are tolerated. So then, after you state your point, you want to back it up with supporting details for that point. These sentences, at least one or two per point, support your points and make them stronger. So each supporting detail should be made up of one or two sentences. You should use facts, statistics, examples, interviews, and other credible research to defend your points. So the sentence in red is your point number 1. Hats are not as distracting as other clothing items which are allowed. And then the following two sentences are supporting details. For example, girls can wear yoga pants, which can be deemed sexy and a disruption for other students. Similarly, highlighter orange pants are not banned in the rule book. However, according to educator Josh Childs, they are just as eye-catching as a hat. Now, just to be clear, I made that up. I didn't actually quote Mr. Childs on that, so give him a break. But that would be considered research because we researched by interviewing, we interviewed a professional who works in the field of education. Okay, so you have to have research somewhere in your supporting details, be it an interview, an example, a statistic, a fact, something that you found from a credible source. Okay, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, so you're going to do the same thing with points 2 and 3. You're going to give point 2, back it up with one or two sentences of supporting details, give point 3, back it up with one or two sentences of supporting details, and you have to have at least 3 points in a persuasive paragraph, and they each need to be supported with details from research. So the way you can think about a persuasive paragraph is like a big juicy hamburger loaded with the works. Okay, so the top bun is your topic sentence, which functions as a thesis statement. The sentences that come next are your supporting details. They're like the lettuce, the tomato, the hamburger patty, the cheese, the onion, ketchup, mustard. So that would be your topic sentence and your supporting details. The fewer points and fewer supporting details you have, the less yummy your hamburger will be. And then, of course, on the bottom, you have your closing sentence, which we haven't talked about yet, but that's what holds everything together. You can't just leave your paragraph open-ended. You have to wrap it up with the final thought. So, the closing sentence wraps up your argument. You restate your topic sentence, which again is your main argument, in different words. Use synonyms, rearrange the order of the ideas, and challenge your readers to change their mind or call them to action if you want them to do something. So this is an example. Reminder, our topic sentence was, high school students should be allowed to wear hats during class. And then we're going to totally reword that as much as possible and change the order of ideas for the closing sentence, but we're still making the same point. Caps should be deemed legal attire at all secondary schools. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is what your persuasive paragraph looks like. Minimum, you're going to have 9 sentences. That's if you do one sentence for each part, including all the supporting details. Maximum, you're going to have 13 sentences. And the reason we're putting a cap on it is because if you have a paragraph that goes on for a page or more, that is entirely too long and you are not being concise enough, okay? So we're not asking you to write a persuasive essay this time. We're asking you to show us a good, solid, persuasive paragraph. So the length of this paragraph might be between, I don't know, a half and a third of a page, 1/2 to 3/4 of a page, but you're not going to go over 3/4 of a page. So that's about how long 9 to 13 sentences would be. Okay, so we're going to practice. You're going to evaluate this paragraph on the following slide according to the persuasive paragraph criteria that we have discussed in this video. Give the paragraph an overall rating, but also be specific and make comments about what needs to be improved. After reading the paragraph, pause the video. When you are done rating, unpause the video and then compare your rating with mine. But make sure that after I read the paragraph to you that you pause it, because I don't want you to see my rating. I don't want that to influence your ideas at all. And let's use this scale to rate the paragraph. 6, if you give it a 6, it's awesome, couldn't be better, A+. 5 would be pretty good, only a few things need to be improved, that would be an A or an A-. 4 would be good, but several things need attention, that would be a B. 3 needs improvement, some serious weaknesses going on here, that would be a C. 2, is this a persuasive research paragraph? I'm confused. And that might be because there's not a whole lot of research there or there's no direction, so that would be a D. Number 1 would be unacceptable. Were you half asleep when you wrote this, and where is the research? And then 0, where is the paragraph? Meaning you didn't write it, or it's minimal, or it's plagiarized. I know that research is included, but there are no citations, therefore it's plagiarized. So if you give it a 1 or a 0, that would mean it would be an F. Okay, again, when I'm done reading this paragraph, you need to pause the video before you see my rating. You need to give it a rating number and make comments about what's good and what needs to be improved before you look at my rating. More people should ride bicycles. Bicycles provide the rider with an economical means of transportation for commuting to work, going to a store, exercising. For example, when I bicycle to work each day, I save at least 1 tank of gas, which is about $40. In addition, I need fewer repairs on my car. Fewer repairs means more money saved or used for important items such as food and rent. Not only do I save money, I improve my health because bicycle riding exercises my legs as well as my heart. When I ride my bicycle to work, I have a sustained 20-minute workout that provides aerobic exercise and pushes my legs to get stronger. Since I have been riding my bicycle to work, my knee problems have almost disappeared. The most important advantages of riding a bicycle is fun. On a ride, I have seen squirrels, an occasional snake, and one day I even saw a deer run through a yard as I rode to work. In conclusion, make your life better. Ride a bicycle. Okay, at this point, you want to pause the video. Please do your rating and make some comments. And then when you're ready, unpause and let's compare our ratings together. Okay, so the first thing that I did is I highlighted that there is a topic sentence. It's what's in blue there. More people should ride bicycles. That's not a bad topic sentence. It's very definitive. It's very clear. They don't use you or I, and it contains the word should, and it is an argument. Then I put in red, just to make it easy for us to see, that there are three main points there. Bicycles provide the rider with an economical means of transportation for commuting to work. Not only do they save money, but you improve your health because it exercises your legs as well as your heart. And third, the most important advantage of riding a bicycle is fun. So those are the 3 points, which are very clear, and then they do have supporting details for each of those 3 points. And I did not highlight this at the end, but in conclusion, make your life better, ride a bicycle. That is their concluding sentence. So all of the parts of the hamburger are there, but we need to talk about what's wrong with each part. Okay, so on the plus side, the topic sentence is clear. There are 3 points to support the topic sentence. Each point has supporting details. The paragraph ends with a closing statement, and sentence variety is utilized. Some sentences start with clauses, some with prepositional phrases, and some with transitions, which is good. That's what we're looking for. However, a couple phrases are awkward. For example, bicycles provide the rider with an economical means of transportation for commuting to work, going to a store, exercising. That's awkward. Those 3 things need to be worded the same way. Commuting to work and going to a store, those are worded the same way. Exercising is not. So that's awkward. Also, the most important advantage of riding a bicycle is fun, but the text says the most important advantage of riding a bicycle is, it should say like, is having fun, or is the advantage of having fun on the way to work. It's just, there's something missing there. And then there was also a sentence too that said are instead of is, which is a typing spelling error. In addition, there's no concession or counter argument there, so that's an issue because that's something that you're going to be expected to include. The biggest downfall is there's no research. This is all just based off of common knowledge or personal experience. So if you're writing a persuasive paragraph, that's fine. But we are writing a persuasive research paragraph. And another big no-no is the use of the first and second person pronouns. This person says I and my, and they also say you and your, which we do not want in our research paragraphs. So for those reasons, I would rate this paragraph a final rating of a 1 or a 2. Does your rating measure up with that? If we go back to our rating scale here, you'll remember that a 1 is unacceptable, were you half asleep when you wrote this? Where is the research? And a 2 is this a persuasive research paragraph? I am confused. So again, it's a persuasive paragraph, but there's no research. So that's why it's either a 1 or a 2. It would depend on the specific rubric that we're rating it with, but either way, it's a D or an F, which is not good, okay? And if there were to be any research in there that wasn't cited, then it would definitely be a 0, which would be plagiarized. So that would be the nuts and bolts of a persuasive research paragraph. Hopefully you feel comfortable with the basics. In class, we'll be going over and practicing how to write each part and evaluating some other sample paragraphs. So see you tomorrow.